Welcome to MFL Options. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about French, Spanish and Urdu at GCSE. Welcome to the MFL Options presentation. I'm going to talk to you about French, Spanish and Urdu and what they look like at GCSE. Welcome to the MFL Options presentation. My name's Mrs. Nesfield. I'm Head of Modern Foreign Languages at Stratford High School. I'm going to talk you through French, Spanish and Urdu at GCSE, what it looks like and how it can be really important to you in the future. So why should you study languages? Many language students are motivated by the opportunity to learn to communicate with people from all over the world. They want to learn about other cultures and history and learn about the food and music and TV shows and politics, everything that goes with that culture. They want to make themselves more employable. They want to try and get better jobs when they're older. Learning a second language will make you more employable and will give you more opportunities in foreign or multinational companies in any industry. It's also really good for cognition and metacognition. It's great for memory in your brain. There's a lot of studies into how it helps people when you get into old age and you start to develop slower memory and start to slow down. People who speak more than one language actually do better overall. And we don't really understand why. We just know that it keeps your brain really healthy and young. Learning a second language is proven to improve your brain's functionality. So it can help you with things such as communication and other soft skills such as coordination and organisation and all sorts of things. It's extremely useful when you travel, obviously, but it can just be a really cool thing to pull out of the bag and be able to speak to people in this country, in social events, networking opportunities in university, when in the world of work when you're older. You'll be amazed at how many different languages are spoken. Even in Manchester alone, there are over 400 first languages spoken in our city. So you'll be amazed at how many different people can communicate in different languages and the opportunities that will open up to you as a result of learning those languages. So what we will actually study at GCSE? Well, in your respective language, so that might be Spanish or French or Urdu, you'll look at 3 themes. You'll look at theme 1, identity and culture. And that's all about the things that make that language and the culture attached to that language special and unique and different. What are the events that these speakers of that language enjoy every year? What are the special foods they eat? What are the special ways that they dress? What do they talk about in general conversation? What are the topics and themes that come up and that are important to that culture's history? Theme 2 is about local, national, international and global areas of interest, and that can be looking at specific regions of the country, or it might be looking at your hometown, describing where you live and comparing it. It might be talking about holidays or places that you could visit in that country. Theme 3, current and future study and employment, so that's all about your current GCSEs, talking about what you study, talking about what you'd like to do in the future, the sorts of things that you'd like to do after you leave school. And the reason that these 3 themes are studied is because these 3 things help you to give flight, if you like, to natural conversation. It's the basis of being able to speak in another language. It will enable you to have conversations in real time at a real speed with other people your own age about the topics that are important to you in French or Spanish or Urdu. And yes, you will leave with a GCSE, but you'll also leave with a real lifelong skill, being able to speak in that language and hold conversations. Okay, so what does the assessment look like? Well, in Stratford, we're always using the 4 key skills. So you'll at the moment be studying reading, writing, speaking and listening in all of your French, Urdu and Spanish lessons. That's the way that we always teach them, because that's the way that we prepare you for exams. In a GCSE exam, you will study each key skill and you will be tested to a weighting of 25% per skills. That means that each of the 4 skills are worth the same amount. You'll do 1 assessment in each of those 4 skills, just like you would do in any other year in the school, and you would receive an overall weighting by adding all of those up. So you can see on the board we have AO1, which is your listening exam, you see AO2, which is your speaking exam, AO3, which is a reading exam, and AO4, which is a writing exam, and all of those components are added up to give you an overall score out of 100, and then you receive your overall grade with those evenly weighted across. So what that means is that if you find listening difficult, it's not going to ruin your GCSE. Okay, you can get through by being really strong in some skills and maybe not others, but we will practice all 4 of them to bring you up in all 4 skills and bring that grade up. The speaking exam, lots of people ask questions about. A speaking exam would always be with your class teacher. It will not be an external person put in, it will just be with your class teacher. It's a few minutes with your class teacher with things that you'll have prepared. It will be recorded and then it will be sent off to be marked. It's as low stress as possible, and you have mocks and practices of it, so it's not a surprise. There are some surprise questions in there, but these are things that you will have practiced with your teacher and you will have learned. So travelling, once you have a second language under your belt, becomes a whole lot easier and more enjoyable, more fruitful, and something that you can really live in a different way. Going abroad and just speaking English to everybody is not the same as going abroad and delving into that language, and you're able to enjoy the culture and experience things in a completely different way. You know, you can obviously, on the simple side, you can be reading menus and understanding what you're ordering, and buying train tickets, or going to the corner shop and asking for what you want in a simple way. You can make hotel reservations and things. But in a higher level as well, I mean, you can go to an art gallery or a museum and you can enjoy what's going on, and you can immerse yourself in that rich culture. You can read signposts around that explain the history of different buildings. You can visit places and you can understand the tourist guides. And it's a fantastic way of really, really enriching your experience as you travel around the world. And one thing we want to do at Stratford High is to offer you school trips and cultural exchanges, to enhance that and to bring those opportunities to you. So obviously that's dependent upon your year and what's happening at the moment. Right now we're not able to offer that for obvious reasons, with the COVID restrictions, but looking ahead to the future, yep, that's what we would like to offer. So studying GCSE languages is a facilitating route into many, many different A-levels. And it's not always the case that people who take GCSE languages then go on and take A-level. They might go into a multitude of different jobs and different pathways into those jobs. But some people may choose to go on and do A-level languages. And what do those routes look like? So I just wanted to show you a couple of examples. Here we can see Xaverian College. The course-specific entry requirements for Xaverian College to study a language at A-level is you need a 5 in your English, and you need a 5 from the chosen foreign language, so in French, Spanish or Urdu. And then you can go on and you can study A-level with them, and there are lots of travel opportunities obviously involved in that, including Madrid, Normandy, Barcelona, all sorts of different opportunities for you to get involved with. And then for Loreto College, their entry requirements would be 6 GCSEs, grades 9 to 4, 2 of which have to be English, maths or science, and then 2 at least grade 6. And you have to have a language in there as well, the one that you want to study. So what do you study at A-level? Now, the A-level course, they're largely the same wherever you study them. And you study social issues, trends, politics, intellectual and artistic culture. You study literature, you read books, you watch the news live and understand it and have debates. You talk about diversity and differences between people. You talk about the history and political themes and patterns of that country. It can be a lot like EE lessons sometimes, but in the foreign language as the medium, because you're having discussions on what you think is right or wrong, what you believe in. You're watching famous people speak on famous issues, and you're asked your opinion a lot, and that's what you're talking about. and you learn to have lively debate and to form arguments and to be able to talk about what you believe in as a person. So A-level can be slightly different to GCSE. GCSE, you start off being able to state facts about yourself and your home life and what you'd like to do, and talk about the country in question in a factual way. And at A-level, you go on to talk about theoretical and hypothetical sort of situations and maybe your opinion on things, and to get involved in a more of a debate way. So it can be a really, really interesting course to do. It builds confidence, it builds communication skills, and it's, as we say, a facilitating subject to go on to university and study different degrees. You do not have to go on and do a language degree because you study languages. You can go on and take that with a medical degree, with a law degree, with an engineering degree, with anything that you choose to do in the future. It's one of those subjects that you can use as a stepping stone to do that. So what are the careers where languages are used? Well, it's a subject that is used so widely throughout the community, throughout the country as a whole, that it's hard to pinpoint exactly what language students do. One thing we know that is that language students do very well and earn more on average than people who do not study languages. But where they go and where they end up in their careers is very wide and very varied. They may end up in local government, in manufacturing, marketing, the military. It's interesting even to be regular foot soldier and just start off at the bottom entering. They like you to have GCSE in languages these days. Public services, if you want to join the police or fire service, they like you to have a GCSE in languages if you can. In retail, it's amazing now what an advantage it is even to do jobs that wouldn't traditionally have demanded a language, because you're dealing with the general public and you're dealing with people that speak a variety of different languages. Teaching, technology, translating and interpreting, those are the traditional routes that we think about in terms of languages. But then maybe things like volunteer work and charitable work, travel and tourism and things maybe we haven't thought about yet. Business services, anywhere where you have a department that works in an international field and sells abroad. Central government, construction, creative and media industries. The many famous authors who did language degrees because it's so important for the formation of words. If you look at some of the most famous works of literature, I mean, look at Harry Potter, for example. J.K. Rowling was a language student, and that's how she came up with those really interesting words and the spells and things, and all those funny words that she came up with and created, because she was a language student. She understood the roots of where those words had come from. Engineering, it's incredible the amount of work we do across Europe now as a country, importing and exporting, event management, financial services, hair and beauty. Unless you only want to be working with a few people in your very tiny local area that definitely you already know and definitely only speak English. If you want to be, taking your business to the next level, if you want to be working with more people around the world, it's always going to be an advantage to you. Health, medicine and social care, we get a lot of medical students that study languages because it's a huge advantage to you, and you can, in medical degrees, go and study for a year abroad and bring that with you, and you get to have a lot more opportunities because of that. Hotel and catering, land-based environment work and law, and so many more. I could go on and on and on and on and on, which I won't do, but if there's anything that you are particularly interested in, look it up, research it, come and talk to me, come and talk to anybody in the department about it. And it's really interesting the ways that you can find routes into different opportunities. If you're interested in going to university one day, you may have heard of the Russell Group. The Russell Group is a group of 24 universities in the UK with a shared focus on research, and they have an academic reputation of excellence. And it's a group of universities that is particularly aspired to by many young people. And the Russell Group has named languages as a subject that opens doors to more degrees at universities. So they were asked as a group to come up with a list of subjects that would be most useful to students when they're applying to university, and languages was named as the top most facilitating subject. So basically as the subject that opens the most different doors of things that you could possibly do with it, because you can use it in so many different degrees. They were saying it's just a really useful one to have, so something to remember. And also I wanted to point out a lovely quote from the Senior Vice President and Managing Director of the Hilton, Steve Cassidy, who said that having language skills under your belt will help make you stand out from the crowd, whether you're applying for an entry-level position, a management role, or an internal transfer. So it's something that is always going to make you stand out, and it could be well into your career. You may start off working somewhere just around the corner and you think, I'll never use it, and actually you want to go for a promotion and it is something that makes you stand out from that other person. Yeah, now I've got another quote on the board just at the bottom there from Dr. Adam Marshall, who's the Director General of the British Chambers of Commerce, who says young people skilled in the languages of Europe, China and other key markets around the world can look forward to exciting and rewarding careers. I wanted to share with you a really interesting job advert just to show you in context how language skills can put you in an advantage. This seemed like a really poignant one to share with you because it was Manchester United. It's from 2017, so it's a few years old now, but these jobs don't come up all the time. So it's quite a recent example for this type of job, and it's for a first team player care officer for the team. And you can see I've just circled where it says fluency in written and spoken Spanish and French is essential. So it's a job that maybe you wouldn't even think that you would need another language for, and yet you do need it for it. And you know, and these are job opportunities that are on your doorstep. This is not in France or in Spain. This is something that's around the corner from you and would be a fantastic opportunity for a local person, but you need Spanish and French to do it. So you know, it's thinking about how sometimes languages can just put you in that advantage for that job that you'd not even thought about, and if you saw it, you'd be able to go for it. If anybody would like any more information on the sorts of themes and topics and the specifics of the vocabulary that you'd be learning at GCSE, you can take yourself onto the AQA website and look at GCSE French, Spanish or Urdu, and you can see all of the information on there in great detail and read it to your heart's content. You can see lists of words that you will be using, and I think you'll realise how many of them you already know from Key Stage 3. It's amazing how much you've already done and covered. And onto our own website, if you go into the curriculum and MFL area, you will see our own course, and there's more information there about the specific way we break it down in our school. If you have any further questions or you'd like any help or advice on where to get started, then please email me or arrange a chat. I'm happy to phone, you know, or contact home and chat to parents if there are any questions there as well. I'm around and I'm always happy to help, and it'd be a pleasure to speak to anybody who would like to. Thanks everybody.